Same thing, only the cursing and deluded part differ slightly, but the message remains. Christians and Jews are deluded. Sincerely, Almighty Dude of Religion of Tolerance. According to Islamic belief, Allah is the same God of the Jews and the Christians, the God of the Bible. And therefore, whenever the Quran says Allah, it means the God of the Bible too. The Quran is pretty much correct about what Christians believe, that the Messiah, Jesus, is the Son of God. Well, at least it got that one right. What it is not correct about at all is the first part of the verse, that Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah. This verse confuses everyone, even Muslims. So much that you can see Muslims online asking what this Quran verse is, and what we are supposed to do with the weird information.
One of David Wood's boyfriends, apostate prophet, who's now, oh yeah, I'm so cool, I got an earring, which is kind of gay for someone like him to have an earring. But anyways, basically he's saying that the Quran, chapter 9, verse 30, is an error because no Jews believed Ezra is the son of God. Basically, there are two responses to this claim. One response is that some pre-Islamic Jews actually taught that Ezra was the son of God. So before Muhammad was even born, there were some Jews saying that Ezra was the son of God. And the second response, and this is the one I personally favor, is that some Arab Jews in Medina believed that Ezra was the son of God. Keep in mind that the Jews of Medina were not Israeli Jews, but they were Arab Jews. They were either Arabs who converted to Judaism or some form of Judaism, or they were immigrants from other countries who intermixed with the Arabs. And so these Arab Jews were not Israeli Jews. These were the Jews of Medina were Arab Jews, and some of them believed that Ezra was the son of God because they had non-Orthodox beliefs about the Old Testament. So basically, getting to the first point, that some Jews believe this before Muhammad or before Islam. If we read 4 Ezra chapter 2, verse 42 to 48, it says there were some Jews who were teaching that Ezra was the son of God. So basically, there were some Jews, before the rise of Islam, before the Prophet Muhammad was even born, that were teaching that Ezra was the son of God. And 4 Ezra was written, I think it was written at least 200 or 100 years before the birth of Jesus. So there was some kind of belief in Israel, in ancient Israel, that Ezra was the son of God, and the reason why is because he restored the Torah, or he edited the Torah. So that's why the Jews that's why the Israeli Jews, some of the Israeli Jews believe that Ezra was the son of God, but this is not found in the canonical Old Testament books. So, but it still proves the point that there were some Jews who believed that Ezra was the son of God before the rise of Islam. As for the Arab Jews in Medina who believed that Ezra is the son of God, basically there were only some Arab Jews who believed this, not all. And I have the references on the screen there. Ibn Abi Wahab, in his book Kitab al-Tawheed, pages 121 to 122, he records that a group of Jews in Medina were saying Ezra was the son of God. So only a group of Jews were saying this in Medina. According to Al-Qurtubi in his Tafsir al-Qurtubi, or Al-Jamal, volume 7, page 116, the Quran, chapter 9, verse 30, does not talk about all Jews, rather a specific group of Jews who are living in Medina, which was a city in Arabia. And we find further confirmation in according to Tabari in Jamil al-Bayan and Tawil al-Quran, in other words, Tafsir al-Tabari, volume 14, pages 201 to 203. There were some Jews such as Finas ibn Ezra and Salam bin Miskam who said that Ezra was the son of God. So basically there were some Arab Jews, such as Finas ibn Ezra and Salam ibn Mashkem, who actually said that Ezra was the son of God. Regardless, according to the Arabic linguistics, according to Al-Qurtubi, the Arabic linguistics, in the Quran chapter 9 verse 30, it's not talking, or the Quran chapter 9 verse 30 is not talking about all Jews, rather a specific group of Jews. In this case, the specific group of Jews were in Medina, saying that Ezra was the son of God. So not all Jews believe this, just a specific group of Jews, according to Tafsir al-Qurtubi and according to the Arab linguistics. So keep in mind, in Arabic, the linguistics or the rhetoric of the language allows saying people to mean some people. So that's the case here. We find further confirmation of only some Jews believing that Ezra was the son of God and not all of them in Sahih al-Bukhari 7439, where according to that hadith, it states that some Jews believed Ezra was the son of God. Some, emphasis on some and not all of them. So this refutes the idea that the Quran is in error when it says that the Jews believe this, because according to the Islamic literature, only some Jews believe this. So, in order to understand what the Arab Jews in Medina were believing, we have to go to the Quran and the Islamic sources, because as F.E. Peters points out, who is a non-Muslim scholar on Islam, he says the only way we can understand what the Jews.
So, like I said before, the Arab Jews of Medina, Arabia, were saying Ezra was the son of Allah, or the son of God, and not all Jews. Some Arab Jews, such as Fanas and Salam bin Mishkim, were saying that Ezra was the son of God. We read in Tafsir, and Tafsir is a commentary or a exegesis of the Quran by the early generation of Muslim scholars such as Ibn Abbas, Al-Tabari, etc., etc. But anyways, see Tafsir by Ibn Abbas on the Quran chapter 9 verse 30, where he says the Jews of Medina were saying Ezra was the son of God. He writes that the Jews of Medina were saying Ezra was the son of God and not all Jews. So, getting back to the Quran chapter 9 verse 30, it says the Jews, and it doesn't say all Jews say Ezra is the son of God. Also see Tafsir al-Tabari, volume 14, pages 201 to 203, and Ibn Ishaq, page 269, where they say that some Jews, such as Fanas and Salam bin Mishkim, some Arab Jews, were saying that Ezra was the son of God and not all Jews. Now, I know I said in previous videos that Ibn Ishaq is not reliable, but this narration in Ibn Ishaq is reliable because it's backed up by other reliable sources. So this story or this saying in Ibn Ishaq is authentic because it's authenticated, or it's backed up by other reliable sources. Ibn Hazm said that the Jews of Yemen, or a specific group of Jews in Yemen, were saying that Ezra was the son of God in Ibn Hazm al-Fazil, volume 1, page 99. So there were Jews. My point is that there were Jews in Yemen and in Central Arabia, or Medina. Some Arab Jews were actually saying that Ezra was the son of God. So if there were Jews in Arabia saying that Ezra was the son of God, and if the Quran was revealed to address certain people and in certain situations, then the Quran is not in error, because the Quran chapter 9 verse 30 is talking about, or is addressing, a specific group of Jews in Medina or Arabia who are saying that Ezra was the son of God. And if we read the tafsir, or the commentary by the early Muslim scholars such as Al-Tabari and Ibn Abbas, they also confirmed that the Quran chapter 9 verse 30 was addressing a specific group of Jews in Medina and not all Jews, who are saying that Ezra was the son of God. So that's the whole point of the Quran, chapter 9, verse 30. It was addressing the Jews of Medina or Arabia, and it wasn't addressing all Jews at all times. So this refutes the idea that the Quran, chapter 9, verse 30, is addressing all Jews. Rather, according to Tafsir ibn Abbas, Tafsir al-Tabari, Tafsir al-Qurtubi, and as I shown before, according to Tafsir al-Qurtubi, the Arabic linguistics, when the Quran says, the people, it doesn't mean all people. And in this case, when the Quran says the Jews, it doesn't mean all Jews. The Arabic linguistics, as explained by Tafsir by Tafsir al-Qurtubi, indicates that when the Quran says a certain people using the term the, it doesn't mean all people or all Jews. It just means a specific group of people or a specific group of Jews. So the Quran chapter 9 verse 30, according to the linguistics, according to Arabic linguistics, as explained by al-Qurtubi, it's talking about a specific group of Jews and not all Jews in the world. And if you read Tafsir al-Qurtubi on the Quran chapter 9 verse 30, it says, no Jew believes this after the death of Prophet Muhammad, for they all died out. So the sect of Jews who are saying Ezra is the son of God died out after the death of the Prophet Muhammad.
Prophet Muhammad in the Quran were saying that Ezra was a son of God. See 4 Ezra chapter 2 verse 42 to 48. 4 Ezra is not included in the Old Testament that we have today, but it's part of the Old Testament pseudegraphical works or apocryphal works that some rabbis used to use before the time of Jesus. So before the time of Muhammad and Jesus, some Jews were saying that Ezra was the son of God. So this belief predates even the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad by at least 200 years, or at least 100 years. Then the question really arises, does the Quran, chapter 9, verse 30, address all Jews or a specific group of Jews? According to Tafsir al-Tabari, volume 7, page 116, the phrase, the Jews said, or the Arabic, Yakad al-Yahud, the verse does not refer to all Jews, but that statement is meant to be specific. In this case, it's the Arab Jews of Medina. So according to Tafsir al-Qurtubi, there's an Arabic phrase, Asab al-Nasul, there's a linguistic thing in Arabic where when it says the Jews or the people, it means a specific group of people. It doesn't mean all people or all Jews. That's a specific Arabic grammar term. So anyway, the Quran chapter 9 verse 30 is talking about a specific group of Jews in Medina who are saying Ezra was the son of God and not all Jews. The commentary of al-Qurtubi confirms this using the Arabic grammar. This is what the Quran is referring to. Either way, there is no error in the Quran here. So Asa